I'm Howard Garrett. Today we're going to talk about how to prepare your trees and shrubs for planting. Well, I'd like to give you some tips on buying trees and what you do to plant them properly so you have the best luck. A lot of times when you pick out a tree at a nursery, there'll be a stake like this. I don't like stakes, and if you can possibly do it without the tree just falling over, try to remove those stakes. You can tell how even the plastic that was there has already started to damage the bark a little bit, and it can cut on in and do further damage. The next step is to take the plant completely out of the container, and I'll show you something that might surprise you. A lot of this soil and these roots that you see that look like birds' nests, those are artificial roots that are growing up. What we're after here is to establish the true top of the root ball, the root flare. And unfortunately, most of the trees that you'll find in nurseries are not like this. You won't see this flare, you won't see the true crown. It'll be too deep in the container. Sometimes it'll be more like this. This tree was not that bad. But all of this fibrous bird's nest root system that's growing up, you simply remove it so that when you plant this plant, it's not buried too deeply in the ground. We'll put this surface at least an inch, maybe 2 inches above the surface so it has room to settle, and then it will not be buried too deeply in the ground. It will get the proper oxygen to the root system and it'll grow better and flourish. Most people would think about trimming these lower limbs away, but I don't recommend it. The reason is if you leave them on, it'll actually help the tree develop trunk, caliper, and grow better because these leaves are collecting light and producing photosynthesis and helping the tree. After a year, then they can be cut away, no flush cuts, and the tree will love that process. The same thought process goes into shrubs or any woody plant. Something like this dwarf crepe myrtle, we can tell by looking that it's too deep in the soil. The same thing is to take the plant completely out of the container. You'll notice that there's a lot of soil that's actually above the crown of the plant. You can use a trowel or your clippers, whatever tools you have. Be careful to avoid injuring the trunk and the true root flare. These little roots that are all up above the ball, and that doesn't hurt the plant at all. It does just the opposite. When it's planted properly, the plant will take off and grow much better. Sometimes roots that you'll run into like these are circling, and they're the most important ones to get rid of because as the trunk grows, those circling roots grow too, and they can cut in and literally choke the trunk of the tree. Commercial people would use a tool called the air spade to blow the soil off the top of root balls. A good thing for the homeowner to use is a whisk broom, because you can expose the flare. We're not down far enough yet. That may surprise most people. And of course, just like we showed before, be sure to rough up the outside edge before the plant goes in the ground. Now, one of the things you'll see here, these little beads are synthetic fertilizer. If you can rake them away, it would be best. It's not the end of the world if there are some in there. The growers still use the synthetic fertilizers. I don't. I recommend the organic fertilizers. So starting with a clean slate as much as you can would give you the best results. Well, those are some simple procedures for you that you may not have thought about that will help your trees establish and grow beautifully. I'm Howard Garrett, the Dirt Doctor, and I'll see you next time.
For more information on my organic program, visit our website at yourhouseandhome.tv.
Some inexpensive materials, a good set of plans, and you can have a great-looking fire pit at your house and home. I'll show you how today.